Hi, this is Josh Kulp. This is the video for Daf Shevui, Masechet Ketubot, Tractate Ketubot, Daf Mem Aleph. This is the first daf of the fourth chapter, so congratulations. We are on to a new chapter, but we are still talking about the fine for rape or seduction and some of the other payments as well. Since this chapter, as all chapters do, begins with a Mishnah, I thought I would explain the Mishnah and also not just the details of the Mishnah, but a little bit maybe about how I read Mishnah and what meaning, at least legal meaning, I read into this Mishnah and other Mishnayot as well. So the Mishnah deals with a case with a young girl, Nara, Shenit Patata, who was seduced, Boshta upgama uknasa shel avia. Her father receives the payments for her shame, the payments for the blemish, and the payment for the fine. They all go to her father. Basically, all the payments do. V'hatzar b'tfusa. And for a girl who had been raped, the pain goes to her father as well. Basically, all payments that a young girl gets really belong to her father. That's not really the issue I wanted to speak about. The Mishnah goes on and makes a bunch of distinctions about the issue of when the father dies vis-a-vis the court case and the collection. So the first rule is amda badin, if she goes to court and the rapist or seducer is convicted in order to pay all this stuff, ad shelo meit ha'av, before the father dies, they belong to the father. That's we know already. If the father dies, then they belong to the brothers, even though they haven't yet been collected yet. In other words, once the court has convicted this rapist or seducer, the father basically owns that money, and now he would bequeath it as an inheritance to his sons should he die. However, lo hispika lamod badin ad shemei ta'av, she doesn't go to trial and the whole court case doesn't occur until the father dies. Harehen shelatzma, and then the father dies, they belong to her. Because the father did not get the rights to that money before he died, because the court hadn't convicted the rapist or the seducer, and therefore, when the father dies and then the court case happens, she's now an independent girl, and she gets the money herself. In other words, we follow the date of the conviction and not the date of the actual event. And this I would read as saying, what creates this obligation of money? It's not the crime, but it is the judge or judges pronouncing the perpetrator, the accused, guilty. That is when this obligation kicks in. Such, if we had a balance sheet now, we would say the father's balance sheet has been accredited. Another rule goes on, amda badin ad shelo bagra. Right, if she goes to court before she becomes of majority age, the money belongs to the father. That's the normal circumstance. Meit ha'av, the father dies, he gives it to the sons. However, if she does not go to court until she becomes of majority age, in other words, she's raped or seduced before she's of majority age, 12 and a half, and then she hits majority age, and then she goes to court, harehen shelatzma, because we've learned that a girl who is of maturity age has her own independence, and the father only gets rights to her when she's of minority age. We knew that before, but what we're learning here is that the critical moment is the time when the conviction happens. If the conviction happens before she's a majority age, it goes to the father. If the conviction happens after majority age, it goes to the father. It goes to the daughter, excuse me. Rabbi Shimon Omer imlo hispika ligbot ad shemei ta'av harehen shelatzma. Rabbi Shimon disagrees. He says, look, if she didn't collect the money before majority age, then the money goes to her. Because she would be collecting after majority age. And the machloket, the distinction, the dispute between Rabbi Shimon and the Tanaim, the other rabbis, is what I want to focus on here at the end. Rabbi Shimon is saying is the critical moment is collection. It's the physical collection. It's not when the court has convicted the rapist or seducer. It's when the collection actually happens. And this, I would argue, is a legal accounting argument, if you will. When do we count the father's account as having been credited? Does it happen? I'm sorry about the phone, but I don't want to make this whole video over again. Does it happen at the moment of the court convicting him? In which case, from the moment when a judge pronounces those words, the money goes over to the rapist or the to the father. The money from the rapist, the seducer, goes to the father. He's credited with it. In which case, he can give it as inheritance to his sons, even if she hits majority age after the conviction? Or is it from the moment of collection, when physical possession? In a sense, the argument is, when do we consider money to be transferred? When someone is owed that money, legally owed that money, or when the money actually is transferred? And I would put this into broader terms. When do things happen, in a sense, in our world? When someone pronounces that they legally should happen, which is a sort of a nominalist, called a nominalist position, a legal position, or when they actually happen, which I would call a more realistic position. I think the rabbis argue about this quite a lot throughout the Mishnah, and it may help you in framing various other disputes and other halachot throughout the Mishnah and throughout the Talmud. Again, I apologize for the phone ringing, but that's what happens when you do these videos from the comforts of your own home.